Hey, my name's Jeff Vinton. I don't know why, but I guess just today, since today's my first day back in my house from my recent stay at Camp Timberline up in Estes Park, Colorado, I've just had this feeling like I really need to record my testimony to God. My testimony of my story with the Lord. And it may be because over the past 2 weeks, I've had probably the most convicting time I've ever had. And it's just been it was such an awesome experience. I feel like I need to record it, and I feel like I need to share it. So I'm just going to get started. So my name, as I said, is Jeff Vinton, and I'm from Fort Collins, Colorado. I've been born here. I've lived here all but 2 years of my life, where I lived down in Scottsdale, Arizona, but that was when I was really little. I've born and raised Catholic. I went to a Catholic school when I was real little, and I don't know, it just wasn't, it wasn't a place for me. It was a place I really, really did not like, a place I couldn't really stand. Maybe it was the teachers. I had good friends there, people I still love to keep in contact with. Let me turn the TV off there for a second, it's kind of distracting me. I had good friends, but every time I was there, I just disliked it more and more. I couldn't, and by the time I got out of there in 6th grade, I hated the place. It's a place I've gone back to once in 6th grade, and I dreaded every second that I was there. I hated it. It was just this place I can't stand. And then as I've gotten older, I've just felt like this just isn't working. Me and the Catholic Church, this just isn't working. And it's just been something I don't agree with, and I'm headed off to Arizona State. If you can't tell by the maroon and gold, mostly gold t-shirt, I guess, that I'm wearing, repping my gold. I like to rep it pretty much every day since I'm super excited to get started down there. And as I go to college, it's something I'm definitely going to explore, but that's not my story. My story really revolves around Camp Timberline, which I mentioned earlier. Camp Timberline is this awesome Christian. Any denomination of Christian can go there. Protestant, Catholic. There's so many Protestant denominations. I don't even want to get into that, so I just say Protestant, Catholic. If you're Unitarian, Methodist, I know that's Lutheran. All those guys. Anyone can go there. It doesn't matter what you are. And it's this place. It's right at the base of Longs Peak, which is just outside of Estes Park. And Longs Peak is one of the many 14ers that there are here in Colorado, which is where I am right now. I am in Fort Collins at my house. And it's just been such an awesome place for me. I started going to Camp T when I was about 7 years old, and it was a place I fell in love with immediately. For the campers, it's such an awesome place. They have like they built, it was brand new in 2011, either 500-foot or 700-foot zip line that goes across. They had a zip line before, but this is like 3 times as long. Goes across their entire field. From their basketball, they have a concrete floor basketball kind of arena place that's called the Rocky Dome, where they have like 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6 nets, and you can go up there, play tips, play knockout, play honestly full court basketball if you really wanted to, 5-on-5 or whatever. And it's there's a silencer, which is basically just this giant swing. They have another giant swing too, which is a good check. But the silencer pulls you like get pulled up by rope next to this telephone pole, and there's 2 telephone poles, and you swing out over the lake that they have there, and it just makes you feel like you're flying. There's also the gut check, which is the other swing, and there's the double and single leap of faith. And the only reason, it's not like the double leap is twice as tall. The double leap just means you're jumping with another person. Single leap, you're jumping on your own. Different experiences in themselves. You're standing on a telephone pole for both of them. And excuse me for coughing, but I do have a little bit of a cold that I got during my time up at camp, just because it was raining, which is an amazing gift that God gave us here in Colorado, because as everyone should know, we've had so many fires here. It's been so dry with our winter. We had almost no snow after our first snowstorm, which was during the fall. Wild car just drove by and it kind of shocked me, to be quite honest. And it shocked, that kind of shocked me. But we had like no snow this winter. It's just extremely dry, and it just, we really needed the rain. And so we got about 7 straight days of rain, and I was kind of caught up in that. But I mean, as a little kid, obviously, I was excited by all that. That's the mountain adventures that I've pretty much been describing, other than the basketball arena. And then they have a bunch of like sports stuff. They have like soccer, basketball, tennis, volleyball for girls. They even have arts and crafts if you really want to do that if you're a girl. And they have this all-around thing where you basically just get to kind of try a little bit of everything. All around was what I did. You just got to kind of play games. And one year we did an obstacle course in like the forest, which was really cool. And it's just been such an awesome place just through that. And that's, when I was little, that's why I kept going back, because it was so much fun. And I never realized really like why I really kept going back until a few years ago, and I really had a truly deep experience with God. And it was probably my 9th grade year when I went, and like the summer before my freshman year, and I trusted my life to the Lord. I've always grown up and I've known that the Lord is my Savior, and I've accepted that into my heart since I was a little kid. And I remember always thinking, because this place, a lot of kids accept the Lord into their heart as their God and as their Savior when they're up at camp, because it's just such a meaningful place and such an awesome place. And it's just such an amazing place. And so, but as I said, I grew up Catholic and going to church and a really religious family, and going there. And there was one part of my life here in Fort Collins outside of camp that really impacted me with God, and that was when my parents got divorced. My parents got divorced when I was 13 years old. And I know a lot of kids' parents get divorced, but for me it was really, my head looks kind of weird. I have a little bit of ADD in me, I can totally tell. My parents getting divorced was really hard for me. And I guess I have a little bit of ADD because it's not the easiest thing to talk about. And it's because I was so shocked by it, and it was, my dad cheated on my mom. That's something that I've come to terms with. And he did it in such a horrible way that I haven't even really been told what happened. I've discovered a few things that I really don't want to go into details about because I don't really like them. But I've never really been told the full story because I don't really know why. But my parents, it was just shocking. And there was actually, it was 7th grade, and I can remember like a week before my mom told me that my parents were getting divorced. She took me and my brother down to Denver and told us, because my sister was at college, and told us in our car. My brother's from me in Denver, so she told us, took me down there. I actually had a date for my girlfriend, with a girlfriend at the time, planned for that weekend, and I had to cancel it. So obviously God knew that something big was going to happen that weekend, and obviously it did. And it was so crazy for me. So shocking. And the week before, I mentioned that, never really got into that. The week before, I was standing at my locker at Lesher Junior High here in Fort Collins, and a friend of mine named Jake came up and asked me if my parents were still married. And that really shocked me. Like, the question in itself. I didn't really know what to take from it. Like, at first, it was just like, did he just ask me if my parents are still married? Like, why would he ask me that? And I told him, yeah, they're happily married, because up until when my mom told me, that was my image. I didn't know my parents weren't getting along, that my dad had done something so horrible, and something so deplorable, really, something that goes against everything I've ever been taught. Through school, through church, through anything. And I really look back on that moment because it was so close to when my mom told me that. It was my dad saying, or not my dad, God, excuse me, I don't think my dad is anything close to God, to be purely honest. Uh, it was God telling me to get ready for something big. Your life is about to get wrecked. This is going to kill you, to be completely honest. And I've had so many struggles with that, but every time I have a struggle, I just get closer to God, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of what's come from such a hard time in my life, such a part of my life that I'm still struggling with. My dad, last year, I believe, it was either last year or the year before, moved to California, which is so far away, and so I really don't ever get to see him. And that's been really hard for me because I don't have my father in my life. And every kid should know that they need someone in their life that can be that father figure. But I've been blessed with someone like that. There's this friend of ours that we have, and it's going to start off with the guy's wife. His wife grew up in California in Paso Robles, swimming with my cousins on my mom's side, with two of them. And she is an amazing swimmer. And she came out and she got a scholarship and swam for Colorado State, which is here in Fort Collins. And so my sister went to college in 2005 and she came here in 2004, and so we kind of took her in, and we've always called her my sister actually came up with this term, and she and this girl whose name is Mackenzie, we call her our replacement daughter, or my mom's replacement daughter, because that's just kind of what she was. And so we took her in, kind of semi-adopted her, and she's been such a blessing to me, just as someone to be a friend with and someone to talk to. But her boyfriend in college, only boyfriend she ever had in college, and obviously they're now married, his name's Chris. He's really become what I've looked at as my role model and my father figure. And sorry, it's so weird looking at myself in the computer screen. Just looking at myself, maybe I don't normally do this. This is weird for me. And he's been a blessing to me, and he's that guy that kind of God gave me in replace of my father, who has really just left my life and is someone I don't look to at all. I can't look at my father for anything because he's been such a horrible role model, and he's just someone that's just not great for me. The only communication I have is when he makes a special trip out here for one of my football games in high school, or my football games last year in high school, or my graduation. The only time I ever talked to him was a phone call, and that's no father-son relationship. That's a friend relationship, and I'm not even really friends with my father. And that's really hard for me to say because I've never really told anyone that. And so this is really just hard, but I take all of those struggles that I've had for 5 years now, going on 6 next February, and I take them and I just take them to the Lord, because I know without him I'm nothing. Without him I'm just dust. I have no strength. I have nothing. And I mean, I'm a pretty big guy, so I have strength, but none of that means anything without the Lord on my side. And it's just hard. And so every summer when I go to Camp Timberline, I just get on fire for the Lord. And a lot of campers have that experience. It's what we like to call our mountaintop experience, because, well, it's on a mountain and you just go up there and it's such a blessed place. Oh my goodness, just it has this perfect view of this mountain called Twin Sisters, and you just look out at the lodge, which is like this place where we eat all our meals and just hang out. The store and the snack shack are in